ahead and call the meeting to order, please, and call roll.
Leeper, here. Oakley,
Here.
Satola,
Here.
Guerrero, here. Stahl,
Here.
Staub, Williams.
Here.
Okay. And I'll have Mr. Meadows lead us in the pledge, please.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We got down first new business.
Yes. Tonight we have Jeremy Travelstead and Lee Rudnick from American Central to talk about our employee health benefit plan.
Okay.
They have a little presentation for us. Okay. Thank you. Yes.
Anybody want a copy? I have extras. You want to look at? Anybody else? Yeah. Do you mind if I sit down while so I can talk through it?
Not at all.
Okay. So, as Mr. Meadows mentioned, my name is Jeremy Travelstead. We're with American Central. I think you all know Lee. He's been handling the property casualty for some time. First, I appreciate the time. I know this is after hours, so I'll try to be as quick and efficient as I can. I will throw this to Stephanie and Bob. Did you want me to focus on the sheets before the rates in the health plan, or do you want me to jump right to the actual numbers themselves?
I think rates and health plan is sufficient.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. That will speed it up quite a bit. So if you go to, for those that have a packet, page that looks like this. This is the comparison and cost comparison. So what we were tasked with, and appreciate the opportunity, what we did was, we're the administrator of a program called the Illinois Schools Employee Benefits Consortium. And this program was put together by our firm and IASA, which is the Superintendent's Association, IASB, which is the school boards, and IASBO, which is the school business officials. And the whole purpose of this program was to bring, additional options to the marketplace, so to speak, and then also give school districts like yourselves, not only here in Niantic, but throughout the state, a statewide program to get large group purchasing power. So right now, to date, there's over 4,000 employee lives in the program, and don't quote me on this, but I believe with the dependent count on there, there's more than 6,000 in total. So it does give us, quite a big advantage when we're going out to the marketplace to, create custom plans and then drive the rate down, and then hopefully, maintain that rate long term. That's the whole objective. The one thing that, there's a couple things that the association directors, as we were building this program, really wanted us to do. It was make it a less risky option than some other options that might be out there. So for example, it's not self-funded, it's fully insured. So what that means is your rate is your rate. There's never any fear of any risk or assessment at the end of the year, or if you ever try to leave the program and say, you said, hey Jeremy, we'd like to go to Blue Cross 5 years from now, or 3 years from now, or 10 years from now, you can, and there's never going to be a penalty to the district. So if for some reason you said, hey, you know what, we just need to be on United Healthcare or Blue Cross or whatever it may be, we can shift you there, and there will never be a penalty to the members or the district at all. So what we were trying to do is, actually help the schools, and we felt the only way to do that was take the risk out of it. And if we're really trying to help the schools, we don't want to tie you to the plan and make it difficult to get out. So that's how the program is set up. With the numbers that we have in the program, we were able to try to customize the plan to really improve the benefit for the teachers and the principals and other members on the plan. So let's start going through here. I'll take you through this first current column, and I'll point out a few quick things that I think are important to everybody on the plan. from my vantage point. Your rate today that the district sees for the Plan A, which is where I think 99.9% of all the people in the district are on this plan, is $728, which I think we all know that's a hefty premium. And there's 54 folks that are enrolled in that tier. Then you do have a $1,500 employee spouse rate, a $1,450 employee children or child rate, and then a $1,615 family rate. Okay. Now at the renewal, the turn of September 1st, your rate is going to change to, with the Egyptian Trust, to $764 for the single rate, $1,576 for employee spouse, $1,524 for the employee child or children, and then the full family rate jumps all the way up to $1,969, which is, darn near $2,000 a month, which is, I don't know a whole lot of people that can do that. So what are they going to give you for that is the question. Well, they're going to give you a $300 individual deductible, a $900 family deductible. You're going to have your co-insurance split that you've been accustomed to. Now the part that, I jumped out at me when we started reviewing your plan was their out-of-pocket maximum or cost-sharing limit, meaning your total exposure for an individual, if you had something serious happen, is $6,600, which is, that's the maximum the Affordable Care Act will allow. You can't go any higher than that on an individual. So, for an individual being on the plan, that's a big expense. For anybody that has a dependent on the plan, their maximum is $13,200 for the cost sharing limit, which is also significant. Then what I noticed too, as we were extrapolating the benefits out, it appeared that they have co-pays for a certain set of services like hospitalization and ER. But what comes along with that is you pay your co-pay, and then there's a co-insurance associated with it, which means you pay your co-pay, and then the actual cost would be applied to your deductible, then co-insurance. So you're kind of getting, it's almost like having two deductibles for the same service, which we can eliminate, all of that. And that hospitalization co-pay was $250, then you pay your co-insurance, or deductible, then co-insurance. Your ER co-pay is $300, then you pay your deductible and co-insurance as well. Your primary care office visits, $25. Your specialist copay was pretty good at $30, and then you had their old Egyptian Trust drug card at $12 for generic, $25 for brand name, and $40 for that tier 3. So what we were looking at is let's look at a more traditional approach and try to match some benefits but improve them as well. So if you look at option 1, we can drastically improve the cost and push that down from $764 all the way down to $637 for the single rate, down to $1319 for the employee spouse rate, $1273 for the employee children rate, and the family rate will go from $1969 all the way down to $1420. So if you took the numbers as they are today, just looking at the numbers and not even the benefits, that'd be $103,380 difference. So the district and/or dependents, or members on the plan would stand to save a combination of that $103,000. So what are you getting for that is the question. Well, you're going to get the same deductible, $300 deductible, and you'd have 3 times in a family maximum. You'd have your standard co-insurance, then your out-of-pocket maximum, instead of it being $6,600, it's only $2,500. Okay, so it would go down $4,100, excuse me. And this yellow bar that goes across the middle, I think is what's most important. So the deductible is already included in that number, and your prescription copays, office visit copays, specialist copays, ER exams, ambulance transportation copays, all of those actually count towards that out-of-pocket maximum. So if you went to the office and saw your primary care doc and had a $25 copay, that would come off of that at $2,500. Or if you're someone that takes maintenance medications, 2 or 3 a month, every time you pay your prescription copay, that comes off your out-of-pocket maximum. So it would salt it down quite a bit faster. Which is really, when they say out-of-pocket maximum, to me, it really should be your out-of-pocket maximum, not your maximum plus your co-pays. So I think we can improve that quite a bit. The family is going to go from 13.2 on the out-of-pocket maximum down to 5,000. So you're really cutting that down. And then on ER, the ER copay is just your copay. There's no copay plus deductible and co-insurance. It's just a flat $200 copay, which is lower than what you have today. If anybody's ever been in an ambulance before, you know how expensive they are. Doesn't matter. You could be taken from St. John's to Memorial in Springfield or DMH to St. Mary's in Decatur, and that'll cost you over $1,000. On this plan, it's a $100 copay, no matter where you're at in the country. So if you need to have ground transportation or life flight, truly it's $100. And that will also come off your maximum as well. You do get an additional eye exam benefit. You'll still have, that full-blown eye benefit through the consortium, which I'll get into at the end. But let's say you've used all of your eye exam benefit up, you'll have an additional one if you want to. Now, of course, you have to go in network since it's through the health plan, but it's a $40 copay, so it's just kind of a fallback if you're one that doesn't want to purchase the voluntary vision. And then the primary care office visit's $25. Specialist is $50. And then I think something that's really unique to this plan is the drug card. For those that don't have the spreadsheet, there's a yellow highlighted $0 there. It says R Extra. What this program has is we have an R Extra program, and in these packets, and then if we're lucky enough to move forward after today, what we would do in the enrollment meetings is kind of touch base on this. And there's a certain set of pharmacies that you can go to and get all your medications for free that are on this generic list. There's about 300 medications. It's typically a maintenance med, so like allergy, asthma, high blood pressure, cholesterol, those types of things. If you have a child on the plan, amoxicillin's on there, it'd be free. And the reason they're doing that is because they're trying to incent the employee to ask for generic work from me for a couple reasons. One, generic typically costs the health plan, $19. Anytime you get into that brand name or formulary, it generally jumps up to $300 or above. So it's kind of a win-win for the plan and the member. If it's not on the generic list, or you just don't like going to these pharmacies that they're there for free, it's only $7, which is great. Then the tier 2 is, I believe, $35, and then the tier 3 is the 70. So they're really trying to drive you towards that generic, which I think would be good long-term for the cost of the plan.
But again, those same co-pays go towards your deductible.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. So that's option one. That's the reason we designed that plan like that, is because we wanted to try to mirror the Plan A deductibles. Truly, I think when you think about the cost of care, when you go see your doctor and you go to the hospital, the cost of care is so expensive now. More so, the number that's really important as we move forward and try to manage this thing is that out-of-pocket maximum, because you can blow through a $300 deductible just like that. So as we move forward down the line, I think that out-of-pocket maximum is probably more of what I would be looking at more so than the deductible down the line. But this would be a good, easy transition, save a bunch of money for the districts and anybody that has dependents, improve the plan greatly, and really, be in a good position. Any questions on option one? I know I kind of went through that fast. I'm trying to get through it for everybody.
For the co-pays and whatnot, is that a calendar year?
The deductibles would be a calendar year, just like the Egyptian trust. The plan year would still be September 1 to 8/31. So your co-pays, you can use those anytime, just like you can today.
That should be true in the last quarter of the year.
Yeah, that's a good point. For your deductible, one thing this plan does that's real unique, let's say you go the whole year and hadn't had anything done. And then next thing you know, December 30th rolls around and you slip and break your leg or something. You're thinking, dang, I gotta serve my deductible over in 2 days. Well, what this plan does is they give you fourth quarter carryover credit. So anything that happens in October, November, and December that is a deductible claim, meaning surgical, diagnostic, or facility, they're going to roll over for you the next year. The other thing they'll do too is if you've incurred anything on your deductible today with the Egyptian Trust, they will credit it on the new plan. And they'll do that by, obtaining a deductible report, and then we submit it on the member's behalf to the health plan, et cetera. So there's no lost dollars there. But the fourth quarter carryover credit's really cool. Good question, thanks. Any other questions or thoughts so far? There's one other plan that I'm going to mention just to kind of think about down the line. I won't go through it because it's an outside of the box thought too much, but it's this option 5 for anybody that has that. First thing I'll mention is, the rates are drastically lower than everything else. And the rate goes down to $494, which I don't think anybody's had a $494 rate around here for probably 15 years. But that would produce a $220,000 savings for a combination of the employees or the district. And if you notice, everything is identical to option 1. The only difference is the deductible and the out-of-pocket are the same. So on paper it says you have a $2,500 deductible and $2,500 out-of-pocket. And you're probably thinking, well, why would I want that high of a deductible? Well, what we thought about was, what if we structured sometime for a rainy day when we really need some big savings, something that you call, or the IRS would call, a health reimbursement arrangement. And I put a sample in here. I won't drag you through it, but it would actually be a better benefit for the employee and the district at some point down the line. And the arrangement that I came up with was, and this is just an idea to think about later, is if the employee was only responsible for the first $500 of their deductible, which would mean they only have a $500 out-of-pocket maximum for the year, the last $2,000 would be reimbursable by the district back to the employee. And I did all the calculations on this sheet. And even if every single member on the plan got reimbursed that full $2,000, the district would still save $66,000. Now, obviously not everybody's going to hit their full deductible. That would be outrageous. But something you could almost bank that, in between 25% and 35% will, which would leave you with anywhere from $178,000 to $160,000. And then on the flip side, the employees only have a $500 out of pocket, which would be incredible. So we've got kind of the easy transition, option 1, and then sometime down the line, if you want to get creative and really come up with some extra dollars, and if the employees were on board and the union and all those things, this is something we can consider. So that's kind of what we do. We're kind of looking at all angles, not just today, but in the future too. Any thoughts so far? Keep it rolling.
Well, it's going to be $300 per employee, which is somewhere around $18,000. But then once the plan is completely away from the Egyptian Trust, then they have to look at the last month and see what the additional costs, if there are any additional costs, we would have to cover that.
The dental plan, the consortium also has an agreement on the life, the voluntary life, the dental, and the vision. That package also generated another $4,000 in savings for the district. What we did was we lowered the life rate by, I believe, 16%, which is a board-paid life amount. The voluntary life insurance, that you had pretty good participation. The rates will be the same, but the guarantee issue amount will be raised to $120,000, meaning if you had a terminal illness, they have to give you insurance for the up to $120,000, no health questions asked. And the plan is also portable, so if you're retired or left, you can take it with you, which is pretty cool. And then on the vision, if anybody's ever heard of VSP, that's who the vision plan's through, and that rate is lowered as well. and the allotments that you can use for your vision are much higher. If anybody has ever been on the VSP plan, which is neat.
And just for the board members, these are employee à la carte right now, but we don't pay for them as a district. They pay for their own.
Yep, these are voluntary. Absolutely. I think that's all I got, as quick as I can go.
Anybody have any questions?
I think you're right there too. I looked this over already and it's a better plan. Saves some.
Yeah, I agree. It's a better benefit to the employees and also saves the district quite a bit, so I'm not sure what the downside would be. And also gets us out of something that we're locked into and into something that we can change at any given moment, I guess. And I kind of got that feedback from you as well.
Right. And talking with the association, they really felt like option one was a better fit for the staff because of the lack of paperwork. The $2,000 back from the district sounds great, but there's also paperwork that's associated with that sometimes they're not that good about getting into the provider. So they just felt like the representative felt like option one was the way we should go. So that's what I would recommend.
So we need a motion to award the
I
employee.
have one question. On this page down here, can you explain what the bottom highlight means?
Yeah.
Must be packaged with voluntary life, 3-year rate lock.
Yeah, so he's pointing out at the bottom here is all of this is already packaged together because we have it today through the Egyptian Trust. He's pointing out that there's going to be a 3-year rate guarantee on the life and a 2-year rate guarantee on the vision, which I forgot about, so it's even better than pointing that out.
So it just locks them into that
Yeah,
way, they're
yep.
available, no increases,
Mhm.
but not on the health.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
What does the NSPPO, what does that stand for?
NS just means non-standard because we customize that plan for you. That's another thing, not to talk too much, but you basically are taking control of your health plan again, so, and we can customize it to some degree for you, which I think will help down the line.
And Health Alliance is their own PPO, their own.
Yep, proprietary network, absolutely.
So it gives not only in Macon County, but also Sangamon County, they both have both hospitals in both towns, as well as a wide variety of doctors in both towns, and associated with Springfield Clinic and all of those type of things as well. And not as much paperwork as Egyptian Trust, from what we understand. Okay, so motion to award the Employees Health Benefit Plan contract to American Central for the 2015-2016 school year. Motion made by Leonard Williams, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Brad Santola, call roll please.
Paper? Yes. Oakley?
Yes.
Santola?
Yes.
Guerrero?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Staub? Williams?
Yes.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
Really
time.
appreciate it.
Really appreciate it.
Have a good night, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You guys have a good night.
And then we have visitors to recognize here before we go.
Yes, Karen Horton would like to address the board about a petition to detach from Lehman Valley schools and annex into one of the
Thank you very much. For those of you that don't know me, I am Karen Horton. When Bob called and let me know that the meeting had been scheduled, our oldest son had an out-of-town activity already scheduled for Wednesday, so Mike is with him. But thank you for letting me have a few minutes. I just wanted to let you know, I had met with Bob and Mr. Field 2 weeks ago on July the 16th. And wanted to let him know in person that we had come to the decision that we wanted to see about annexing out and detaching from Sangamon Valley and into Warrensburg Latham. And I wanted to just take a few minutes and give you our reasoning for this decision. There's three main reasons, and these are not in any particular order, but they all led to the decision. Openness of communication, educational goal path, and our location where we live. So openness of communication. It's been our experience that our questions and our concerns, by not just us, but other parents and community members, don't seem to be viewed with the same amount of concern by the administration. And the resolutions to these concerns do not happen unless they are pushed. In my place of business, if a customer has a problem, a resolution to an issue takes place as soon as possible. And as parents and taxpayers of a public school, we are your customers. As was suggested at a board meeting in the spring, we were told to stop complaining. And we don't tell customers in our place of business to stop complaining. The days of blind acceptance are over. All types of information need to be available to the public, and the website is the best place for that information to be readily available. Additionally, a friend of mine had submitted 2 FOIA requests for a school improvement plan, and she accompanied me to the meeting with Mr. Field and Mr. Meadows, and we were told then that there was no formal plan in place. There was a school leadership team that worked to address some of these issues, but Mr. Meadows had told us that unfortunately in the last couple of years that committee had broken down, and so that was disappointing to me to hear that. But more importantly, we found out in the meeting that no school improvement plan had been put in place for all of the years that Sangamon Valley High School has been listed on the academic watch list. And there were even a few years when the entire district was on the early academic warning list. Now, we understand that a plan has been put in place, and even though it's not required, because Illinois now has an exemption for No Child Left Behind, something should have been done back when the problem was ongoing and published for the public and the matter taken seriously. The board should have been notified of goals and objectives, and there should have been review then to make sure that we were meeting those goals, or maybe we needed to realign the plan. Additionally of concern was the knee-jerk reaction that took place at the December meeting when Mr. Fowler announced his resignation that was coming in 6 months. What was the rush to promote everyone that night in a different administrative position? There were no interviews conducted. In our opinion, there was no due diligence that took place to just confirm that you had the best administrators in place for your school. As far as an educational goal path, we know state standardized tests are not perfect, but they are used by all. We were told at the March meeting that we have some students that don't try. Well, all schools have that. Sangamon Valley is not an exception. The playing field is level. Our elementary schools seem to be doing well, but it's our opinion that there is a disconnect that comes late in junior high and then in high school, and we need to figure out how to engage these kids. When I had my meeting with Mr. Field and Mr. Meadows, I gave them a handout that I had gotten from the Regional Office of Education about a speaker addressing how to maximize learning in the classroom. It said that a student gives an instructor 30 seconds to buy in to what the instruction or the activity is. So if we're not getting that buy-in, what do we need to do to improve on that? We are also concerned that there's not enough professional development taking place. We were told that the previous administration limited the courses as a cost-saving measure, but new standards are in place, I understand, that require professional development hours to keep teaching certificates. So are we playing catch-up on this? Because Mr. Meadows told us that in the last year, we've done more professional development than we ever have. So that leads me to believe that we must be falling behind in some areas. I also offered some information on a math conference. The information came from the Illinois State Board of Education website. And I quote from this, "It was designed by teachers to allow participants to immerse themselves in the state's new math curriculum models and help teachers in K through 12 develop lesson plans that meet the new benchmarked Illinois learning standards in K through 12 math. It was glanced at during our meeting, and then it was given back to me at the end of the meeting. There was still time to sign up for this. Math is one of the areas that we seem to struggle in here, so I'm wondering if this was a missed opportunity. Lastly is our location, where we live. Our home is a working livestock farm. It's not easy to relocate that as it is to sell a home in town. We don't have any neighbors with children that are in the district that might also look at detaching, so that should not be a concern. The financial impact of losing our 2 students would likely not be noticeable, since we're told that there have been good financial decisions made over the past few years, and we're sitting in the best financial position we've ever been in. So in conclusion, from what we read from the website, we understand that everyone seems to be happy with the path that Mr. Fowler had laid out, and Mr. Meadows intends to stay on course with that. And to us, that seems like business as usual and no change. And so it's our desire to handle this as quickly and quietly as possible. We feel it would be in the best interest of all parties to allow us to detach to Warrensburg-Latham and part as amicably as possible, so that time and money are not spent the next 8 years that our boys are in school publicly locking horns over differences of opinion. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, I thank you for your time.
Well, I do have some questions. If you want to stand back up, that would be fine. I appreciate all that you had to say. It was a good scolding for the board, I suppose, and I find it interesting that you come and tell the board everything that we're doing wrong, yet you want us to grant you this request. So that does not sit well with me. And is it a slight undercurrent of things may not go well for us if we don't grant you? I mean, if we're amicable with you now, everything will be okay. But if we don't let you go amicably, are there going to be repercussions for the board? Is that what you're saying, that over the next years you will continue to?
The way we understand the process of detachment as presented by the regional office is that each school has a board meeting, then the regional office has a hearing, and then from that, if we're not satisfied with the resolution, there can be a second hearing, and if we're not satisfied with that resolution, then we can go to circuit court. At this point, we are prepared to go all the way.
Well, I know that you will be true to that. My concern is you stood up and you told us a lot of things, but we're all holding a petition in our hands, and those are not the items that you addressed in the petition. This is what the regional board will see, and this is not what you're giving us tonight. So as I look at this, you know, we can contradict, we can disagree on things, but you're wanting us to look at this, and I don't feel it is in the best interest of the board to surrender to some of these claims, which I don't believe are true. And I think we have to take that into consideration.
I would, I guess, question the fact, also on the front page of your petition, how many, what are we in fact losing? Because I thought your property was contiguous, but
We are a
not.
half a mile from the boundary line. So there is a 40-acre field, I believe, that is in front of us, and then there would be a sliver of another field, that's another 10 acres.
None of them with current property, no
No,
homes on
it's
them.
unimproved, it's farm ground.
Okay, but then those would all be, in effect, if this is agreed upon, become Warrensburg-Latham. If anyone were to build there in the future, any of that would all become Warrensburg-Latham and their tax dollars.
Okay, I do have a question about that too, because Illinois school law code says in section 7.1, If there are no registered voters within the territory proposed to be detached from one or more districts, then the petition may be signed by all of the owners of record of the real estate of the territory. Have these owners of record been notified?
Yes, they have, by
And
our
there's no
attorney.
signatures or indication to us that they agree to this.
Okay.
And so my concern is, did you let them know? Are they on board with it? Or are we just, because all we have, and if this is what you presented to the regional office, is just documentation of who owns the ground.
Yes, we have, our attorney has notified them, and they've given their consent.
Okay.
So you do
Well, I
have the
would think
consent
we
of both
and the
parties?
regional
I'm sorry, what?
You do have the consent of both parties, but we
Our-
just don't have the.
Our attorney does, yes, I don't have it with me tonight.
And then I guess my other concern, within here somewhere, just the curriculum that is addressed. I guess I take my biggest step back at this because we have, I've graduated 3 students now as of May through the school district, and they've all attended college, 2 have graduated and are now in the workforce. So I know there is a little bit, and I've said this probably for years, I agree with your statement, there's a little disconnect at the high school level. I think there are some things within here that we can work on. I believe Mr. Field and Mr. Mills are both now in the position, I think they probably talked to you about that during your meeting, of trying to make some improvements here. So I guess what I disagree with the most is that we cannot meet educational or extracurricular activity curriculum for you. That strikes me the most, I guess. So what do you see as what are you lacking?
In the high school
Pertaining
level-
just to the high school level?
Yeah, in the high school level, the college level classes are offered at the actual school. They do not have to go off campus to Richland to complete those. I understand that here it's offered at a limited time, in the afternoons, I believe, at Richland. And that doesn't always work out for everyone's schedule, where being right there on the campus at Warrensburg makes it more easy on the students and allows more flexibility. They also have some college level math curriculum. I'm not aware that we have college level math curriculum credit here.
So they're offering dual credit as well?
Correct.
On campus, taught by their instructors and not a Richland instructor.
It's on their campus, yes. As to who the actual instructor is, I am not sure if it's one of their teachers or if they have a Richland instructor come in.
Okay, that was the most, obviously concerned with giving up property that earns tax dollars for us, and also, just agreeing to something like this, I feel in turn says I agree that we can't provide an adequate education, which I do not agree with. So those were my 2 main concerns.
I think that needs to be stated very clearly, that, at least in my opinion, I disagree. I think we can provide a quality education. I believe that if you look at our master schedule, and you look at Warrensburg Latham's master schedule, they're very similar. I believe the last time I looked at it was maybe last year, we offer more language than Warrensburg Latham does. As far as extracurricular goes, again, I think we're on a pretty level playing field with Warrensburg Latham. Another thing that I'll say as far as the school improvement plans and all of that, we've been compliant with the ROE and the state of Illinois every year since I've been here. And if we've been required to do a school improvement plan, we've had one.
So then why was it not able to be produced immediately at the FOIA request?
It was. I provided it to,
After the fact? She had put one FOIA request in quite a while ago,
well, I can't comment on that because I didn't deal with it.
but then the second one was submitted before we had our meeting. And to me, a school improvement plan should be something that you have on file in a filing cabinet, can be easily accessed and given to someone to see. And that didn't happen.
And it was at, and I think I mentioned this that today that the plans were at the various buildings, not within
The district office wouldn't have all the plans on file?
Not necessarily, no. Why would they-
The high school is right here with the district office, so.
So why would you need a plan here in the high school office and one in the unit office? I really don't see the difference. If you want to see a school improvement plan, come down to the office.
So while I was right there in your office, we couldn't have walked over to the high school office and gotten it.
I provided school improvement plans as I was requested by the FOIA request.
Anybody have any questions, comments?
Have you spoken with Warrensburg?
Yes,
Have they made a decision
yes, they had a meeting last week and it was approved by their board
unanimously?
unanimously.
I don't think there would be any reason for them not to approve it, they're gaining money.
If somebody wanted to come into our district, we would be unanimous about it, so that's a given.
And they would be having a hearing very similar to this.
Right. Any other questions
Have we had any other requests like this in the past?
ever? Not to my knowledge.
Since I've been here.
I have wondered.
Well, yes, there have been. It's been several years, and if you look at the boundary maps, you can see the discrepancies. And there's about 200 acres behind my house that in the 70s, I believe, was annexed, detached by Mr. Alsop to Warrensburg. And that's land we won't get back because he wanted his children to go to Warrensburg.
I think the form is attached from Warrensburg, and it's in there. 20 years ago.
Yeah, they're right on the edge of that Harristown Road there. Okay. So, not in the recent past, but 20 and 30 years.
It's happened.
Mhm.
The one question I have, and this is maybe new information to me, but there was allusion to some warning list or watch list. Anybody else aware of warning list or watch list?
The high school have been on the watch list, yes, because of the test scores. As No Child Left Behind evolved, you were supposed to reach by, I believe it was 2014, everybody was going to be at 100%. Meet or exceeds. And if you go back to as early as 2000, the state averages are right around 52% meets or exceeds in all areas, and that has stayed flatlined ever since. 15 years. So if one building in your district, after a number of years, doesn't meet AYP, then that puts your district on watch as well.
And I believe that's what that first FOIA also was about, wasn't it? And that was, there was already an exemption, so we didn't have those records, if I remember right. Because there was already an exemption for that. Going back a few months into the board meetings, I have to look at the packets. But
Maybe this is for a different conversation, but it's the first time I've seen anything like this.
There is no list anymore. It's taken away with concealed. And now we're using the park testing as the measuring stick, which the results have not come out from that yet, but that basically compare apples to apples. Eventually.
And that test is already changed for next year
They've changed
at this
it again.
point. So you won't have.
Real results are gonna take quite a few years.
questions, comments from anyone?
Do you own it? You own the property?
Yes.
You have the right to do with your kids. One thing I have to say is the grass is not always greener on the other side.
I understand.
Okay, so then I guess we need a motion to go into closed session for the reasons stated on the agenda. Motion made by Mark Leeper, second. Mike Buckley. Call roll, please.
Oakley,
Yes.
Santola,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Williams. Yes.
motion to accept closed session minutes as read in closed session. So by Jeff Stahl first, second by Mike Oakley. Call roll, please.
Okay, Guerrero,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Leeper, yes. Oakley,
Yes.
Santola.
Yes.
Okay. I need a motion to accept the resignation of Brittany Munoz as Sangamon Valley West Elementary Special Education teacher. Moved by Martha Leeper, second by Mike Oakley. Call roll, please.
Stahl,
Yes.
Staub, Williams,
Yes.
Leeper, yes. Oakley,
Yes.
Santola,
Yes.
Guerrero.
Yes. Motion to hire Brian Hansborough as Sangamon Valley High School English teacher for the upcoming 2015-2016 school year. So moved by Fred Santola, second by Mike Oakley. Roll, please.
Williams,
Yes.
Leeper, yes. Oakley,
Yes.
Santola,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Stahl.
Yes.
Okay. Motion to hire Shannon Reese as Sangamon Valley West Elementary Special Education for the upcoming 2015-2016 school year. All of them. Motion made by Jeff Stahl, seconded by Leonard Williams. Call roll, please.
Leeper, yes. Oakley,
Yes.
Santola,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Williams.
Okay, motion to support the detachment of the Karen and Michael Horton, Judith Dees, and John Gepford properties from the Sangamon Valley School District.
So moved.
Motion made by Leonard Williams. Is there a second? Mike Oakley. Call roll, please.
Oakley,
Yes.
Santola,
Yes.
Guerrero,
I'm a no, and firmly just because I believe it's a bad idea to give up the tax dollars to leave that land, and also I believe there's other ways to address the educational needs of the students.
Stahl,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Leeper, no.
Motion passes, and motion to adjourn. First by Mike Oakley, Jeff Stahl.
Okay.
Oh,
I wanted to bring some up.
back up.
Just want to check in on some more work.
Update on summer work, I'll start over at Heliopolis. We had to hold off on the tile project, chorus room. We found that there was asbestos in the adhesive holding the tile down, not in the actual tile. So we patched the tile that was up, and we've since waxed it, sealed it up. So we're going to do that over Christmas break. The room at the middle school that they call Jan Hex room, I don't know what number it is. That room has been completely modeled and finished. It's ready to go. We had a delay with the carpet from Flooring America, so we asked Crystal Foltz to do the carpet in that room as well. They agreed to do it. They'll have it done by the end of the week. Flooring America should have the tile laid in 2 elementary bathrooms at Sangamon Valley East. That should be done by the end of the week as well. And the library here is starting to come together. We're awaiting some furniture that got put on back order. So we're going to move some of the older furniture back in until the other comes and they start replacing that. So
It's not going to be here before school starts.
unfortunately, I don't think so.
I didn't look when we pulled in either, I apologize. Is the sign back up?
The
scoreboard,
scoreboard,
yeah.
that should be completed in here by next Wednesday. I've already talked to Bodine Electric about installing it. They're the ones that have done the work on it before. And I've got that lined out. We're just waiting for the arrival of the new scoreboard.
And all of that remains as a insurance claim?
At this point, yes. I've been to Hairstown a couple times this summer. It's really good there. Hairstown looks fantastic. I think the high school, with everything that's been done and the direction we're going with it, I really feel like it's as good as it's been in a long time. The middle school's coming along very nicely, and I think Heliopolis did elementary building over there is fantastic as well. The custodians and the maintenance people have just been working the summer hires that we've done, and it worked out very well. It's going well, and it seems to me like the building is, like I said, it's good shape since I've been here, and it's only going to be better.
Have they started, we talked about, I think, a meeting or two ago, 3 ago maybe, they talked about starting a list with teachers as far as painting throughout the rooms and kind of working, have the administrators started that over the summer?
We'll start when the teachers return, and they'll get a bit more. I plan to walk the buildings down once everybody gets back into the rooms.
Checklist.
And start with the checklist, and I think at that time, we can start looking at our committees and trying to sit down and start to prioritize some of our things that we do. Both mowers here and running. We did a little bit of landscaping work around the high school, but we'll get on that next week.
There's a time there, well, the agenda for next meeting is possibly upgrading of the fence, permanent fence there. There's got temporary fence for the overrun thing, just you guys approval to do that, or
Yeah, the youth league.
They have the youth league that is offering to pay for a fence, permanent fence to be installed at the Harristown as outfield fence. So school will have to give approval for that to be done, pay for through the youth league.
New business next time.
Anything else? Okay, so now we need a motion to adjourn. First made by Oakley and second by Stahl. You still happy with that? Okay. Call roll, please.
Sotelo?
yes.
Guerrero?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Williams? Paper? Yes. Oakley?
Yes.